Today, we are opening a window onto a story that's more than a century old.
We are. E.M. Forster's classic from 1908, A Room with a View.
And what's amazing looking through the sources is that while the clothes and the manners feel very Edwardian.
The central conflict feels terrifyingly contemporary.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really get into this powerful, sustained metaphor at the heart of the novel.
The room versus the view.
Right. And it's, frankly, chilling relevance to how we sort of build and perform our identities today.
There's this one idea, this one critique we found that just nails why this book matters so much in, 2025.
It's that the story is a terrifyingly accurate mirror of the traps so many of us fall into today.
That gap, right. The gap between the perfect, curated life we present to the world.
And the messy, authentic, passionate truth of who we really are.
That's the hook.
It really is. I mean, this is the original struggle against performance anxiety. It's just dressed up in beautiful white dresses and set against, the Italian Renaissance.
It's all about that lifelong conditioning to choose the sensible path.
The sensible partner, the sensible life. The life that looks good on paper.
The life that gets you that external approval.
And Forster throws this question at us, this provocation.
He asks, what if that life, that safe, approved, comfortable, perfectly respectable life?
What if it's actually a prison? A gilded one, but a prison nonetheless.
We're all taught, from childhood, don't make a scene, follow the rules.
Avoid controversy at all costs.
But Forster is suggesting that this kind of compliance, just for the sake of being respectable, can be an existential catastrophe.
So that's our mission, a surgical dissection of a society, Edwardian England, that's caught in this violent tug of war.
Between rigid, suffocating manners on one side.
And the primal, liberating, and often very chaotic call of authenticity on the other.
And we're going to track how this metaphor, the room versus the view, becomes the architecture for one young woman's battle for her own soul.
Okay, so let's set the scene for anyone who hasn't read it. No spoilers just yet.
All right. The story starts right where our protagonist, Lucy Honeychurch, expects to find some kind of awakening.
In Florence, Italy.
Exactly. But the location is immediately, it's subverted. They check into a place called the Pension Bertolini.
And the sources describe this place so perfectly. It's not a real taste of Italy. It's a little pocket of England.
Yes, a cultural fortress, a totally controlled environment designed for English tourists who want the grandeur of Italy.
But without the inconvenience of dealing with actual Italians.
That phrase, without the inconvenience, is just. It's everything. It is the ultimate expression of the room.
A place where everything is safe and predictable.
The tea is served on time, the staff speaks broken English, and the real chaos and passion of the city are completely shut out.
So our protagonist is Lucy Honeychurch. She's young, talented on the piano.
And she's from a comfortable family in Surrey. This is her first big adventure.
But she is not alone. She is tethered to her cousin and chaperone, Charlotte Bartlett.
And Charlotte is so much more than just a chaperone. She is the walking embodiment of Edwardian anxiety.
Right. For her, social rules aren't just guidelines.
No, they are a fortress. A fortress wall built to keep out the terrifying messiness of real life. She's the warden of propriety.
And the central conflict, the main metaphor, kicks off the second they arrive.
It does. They were promised rooms with a beautiful view of the Arno River.
And instead, they get rooms facing a dull, claustrophobic courtyard.
A brick wall.
A literal brick wall.
It's just such a perfect, brutal metaphor for the life she feels is already being mapped out for her.
She came for a wider vista, for passion, and what she gets is a dead end. The suffocating wall of expectation.
But that dead end is challenged almost immediately.
By two other guests who are the complete embodiment of the view.
Mr. Emerson and his son, George.
Mr. Emerson is eccentric, a bit of a radical socialist. He just says what he thinks, with no filter.
And George is quiet, brooding, intense. He's a man of action, not analysis. They're the total opposites of proper Edwardian society.
So Mr. Emerson overhears their complaints about the rooms.
And he just shatters all propriety by making an offer.
He and George have the rooms with the view, and he just says, hey, let's swap.
To Charlotte, this isn't a kind gesture. It's a full-blown social crisis.
I mean, a strange man, not even properly introduced, offering his room to two unattached ladies.
It's a social grenade. A complete violation of every unwritten rule of etiquette. She is horrified.
Lucy accepts.
She does. She overrides Charlotte's panic and accepts the view. And that choice, even if she doesn't realize it, is existential.
It's asking her right in that moment, would you rather spend your life staring at a wall of expectation and politeness?
Or would you dare to look out at the messy, unpredictable, and beautiful world?
And that choice between the wall and the window sets the entire course for the rest of the novel.
Okay, so this is your warning. We're about to get into some major plot points.
Yes, if you're planning to read the book and want to go in fresh, maybe skip ahead a few minutes. But to really understand Lucy's transformation, we have to talk about the spoilers.
Because this is where the walls of her room really start to crack. There are what I'd call 3 major earthquakes.
The first one happens right away in Florence.
Lucy takes Mr. Emerson's advice. She decides to cast away her guidebook, that pre-approved path, and just wander.
She goes out alone into the Piazza della Signoria looking for something real.
And boy, does she find it, but not in the way she expects.
She's there, surrounded by the power of the Renaissance, Michelangelo's David, all these statues of passion and violence.
And right there, her sheltered world just shatters. She witnesses a man being stabbed and killed over some trivial argument.
The world goes from a pretty picture postcard to this horrifying visceral reality.
Suddenly, the beautiful piazza is filled with the coppery scent of blood. She faints.
And who's there to catch her? George Emerson.
Right. And he doesn't act like a romantic hero. He's a force of reality. He doesn't offer comforting words.
He does something incredibly symbolic. He takes her photographs, which are now stained with blood,
Her tourist's detached perspective.
and he throws them into the River Arno.
It's such a powerful act. He is literally washing away her innocent picture postcard idea of the world.
He's forcing her to see that the view isn't just pretty, it's life itself in all its brutal glory. The beauty and the brutality all mixed together.
And that shared trauma connects them. It sets the stage for the second earthquake.
The first kiss, and more importantly, the lie.
This happens on a group outing to the Tuscan hills near Fiesole.
And even the journey there is significant. They're with this Italian driver who's just singing with pure passion, a total contrast to the stiff English passengers.
And Lucy, drawn by the view, wanders off by herself into a field just covered in violets.
Of course, the truth always lives outside, in nature.
And George finds her. And there's no polite conversation, no permission asked. It's just...
An eruption of pure, unmediated impulse.
The sources describe it as the moment her prison completely dissolved. It's this explosion of passion that just bypasses all the rules.
It's pure being.
But the view is invaded almost instantly.
By Charlotte Bartlett, the fortress of propriety. She stumbles on them, gasps, and sees everything.
And the consequence is immediate and devastating. Under Charlotte's panic, they flee Italy.
The kiss isn't treated as a moment of truth, but as a scandal that has to be covered up.
And so the lie of denial begins. They have to pretend it never happened. And that lie becomes the foundation for every bad decision Lucy makes from that point on.
Which brings us to the third earthquake, the retreat and the surrender.
Back home at Windy Corner in Surrey, Lucy tries to bury that memory under routine and respectability.
But that passion, that life force that George unleashed, it has to go somewhere.
And it goes into her music. She plays the piano, Beethoven specifically, with raw, violent passion.
It's described like she's attacking the keys. It's the only place the view can still exist for her.
Her secret internal space where her real self can rage against the walls.
And it's here, safely indoors, that she makes her conscious surrender.
She accepts the proposal of Cecil Vyse.
Cecil is the perfect match on paper. Wealthy, cultured, intellectual.
And this choice is completely based on the lie that the kiss in the violets meant nothing.
But Cecil is, as the sources put it, condescending, emotionally sterile, and utterly, completely devoid of passion.
His proposal happens indoors. It's an act of convenience, described as an act of ownership.
He sees her as a possession, a work of art, to be acquired, polished, and placed in the gallery of his life.
He treats her like a precious, fragile statue.
And her acceptance isn't about love. It's a full surrender to the room, prioritizing safety and approval over her own authenticity.
Let's shift a little bit and talk about the author E.M. Forster.
Right, because he penned this in 1908, and he wasn't just writing a romance.
Not at all. He was a key intellectual figure in the years leading up to World War I.
And the timing is everything, isn't it?
It's crucial. He was writing as the old Victorian certainties were collapsing, but before the real, modernist freedom had taken hold in the mainstream. This book sits right on that fault line.
So it's not just a story. It's a surgical dissection of a society at war with itself.
Yes. He uses Lucy's personal drama to analyze the massive psychological cost of Edwardian morality.
His whole intent feels very philosophical.
Deeply. Forster valued authenticity and real human connection above all else. He was an intellectual who was deeply suspicious of intellectualism that led to emotional detachment.
So that's the engine of the novel, the idea that feeling has to come before analysis.
And the sources really emphasize that the core conflict isn't just about who Lucy marries.
It's about her struggle to break free from the performance of being respectable.
Exactly. This book is an early, sharp look at the emotional hypocrisy of the British ruling class, a theme he'd explore even more deeply later on in works like Howard's End.
So this novel is basically Forster telling his entire society, you are choosing comfort and appearance over your own spirit.
It's an urgent plea to actually live life, not just observe it from a safe distance.
To really get the gravity of Lucy's crisis, we have to understand just how repressive the Edwardian era was.
Oh, absolutely. The period was defined by these rigid, suffocating manners. Appearance wasn't just important, it was everything.
It was the tail end of Victorian repression, where propriety governed every single interaction, especially for a woman of Lucy's class.
And her reputation was her only real currency. If that was damaged, her entire future socially, economically was gone.
Which is why the setting in Italy is so important.
Yeah.
It's not just a pretty backdrop.
No, it's the crucible. It's the agent of change. Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance, represents passion, chaos, art, unfiltered life. It shatters her sheltered world because it hits her with beauty and death all at once.
And the fortress against all that chaos is Charlotte Bartlett.
The walking embodiment of Edwardian anxiety. Her rules are that fortress wall built to keep out the terrifying messiness of real life.
But there's also a desperation to her, isn't there? She's unmarried, dependent. She's protecting the system that keeps her afloat, too.
Absolutely. Which brings us back to Mr. Emerson's offer to swap the rooms. It's hard for us to grasp today just how explosive that simple act of kindness was.
A social grenade.
Completely. Unattached women and strange men did not interact like that. It would have immediately started rumors, suspicion.
His offer showed a total disregard for the social structure. It wasn't just bad manners. It was a threat to the entire hierarchy.
Which leads to the great irony of the pension Bertolini itself. It's designed for people who want the postcard version of life.
They want the view, the art, the history.
But only from a safe, clean, analytical distance, without the inconvenience of dealing with actual Italians.
They want the idea of adventure, but not the messy reality of it.
And that's Lucy at the beginning. But when genuine, messy life confronts her, her first instinct, guided by Charlotte, is to run right back into the room.
So now we get to the heart of it all, the big ideas.
Right. And it all starts with that core metaphor, the room versus the view.
Let's really break that down. The room is safety, predictability, propriety.
It's denial. It's stifled emotion. It's a world of passive observation. Cecil Vyse lives his entire life in the room.
He sees life as something to be critiqued from a distance never experienced.
And the view is the opposite. It's danger, passion, chaos, truth, vitality. It's unfiltered life.
It's the sun on the Tuscan hills, the unexpected kiss, the sight of blood in the piazza. It forces you to feel.
George Emerson is the view personified. He just acts. He accepts life as it is.
And this leads directly to the next big theme, the danger of inauthenticity, or the lie.
Lucy's small lie of denial about the kiss doesn't stay small. The sources say it grows into a suffocating forest.
She thinks she can just wall it off, but she can't.
No, the authentic self demands to be heard, and every action she takes after that is just reinforcing the lie. Choosing Cecil is the public performance of that lie.
It's exactly what we do today. We build lie on top of lie to maintain a certain image, and eventually the performance becomes suffocating.
And the result of all this is what Forster called the muddle.
It's more than just being confused.
Oh, it's a deep psychological state, a state of internal confusion where you no longer know what you truly feel or want.
You lose your internal compass. She gets so good at playing the part of Cecil's fiancé that she loses track of the real Lucy Honeychurch.
And this is the critical link to today. The muddle perfectly describes the anxiety from the gap between our carefully curated online lives and the messy reality of who we really are.
Lucy was just trapped in an offline version of that same performance.
And this all plays out in that theme of detachment versus connection. Cecil is pure detachment.
The sources have this great line. Cecil would rather describe a beautiful sunset in clever terms than feel the awe of watching it.
He's a collector of beautiful things and ideas, but he never lets them actually touch his heart.
Whereas George just plunges into life. He's all about messy connection.
Which brings us to Mr. Emerson's philosophy, which defines the ultimate sin in this book's universe.
He sees passion and vitality as sacred. And he tells Lucy that denying love, denying authenticity, it isn't just a mistake.
He says it's a sin against her own spirit, a sin against life itself. The real tragedy isn't social ruin, it's a life lived in fear.
It's emotional death.
Precisely.
And the characters are just such perfect embodiments of these ideas. Lucy Honeychurch, our reluctant soul.
Right, she's caught in this tug of war. And because she can't speak her truth, she channels her internal storm into her music.
She plays Beethoven with raw, violent passion.
And Beethoven is the perfect choice, isn't it? That passionate intensity, the breaking of formal rules. The music becomes her secret view.
The one place her authentic self is allowed to exist.
And then there's Cecil Vyse, the collector.
You have to admit, he's appealing on the surface. Cultured, clever, secure. For a woman of that time, he's the top prize.
But his nature is to collect. He sees Lucy as a work of art, to be acquired, polished, and placed in the gallery of his life.
Like a precious, fragile statue. Something to be looked at, not engaged with.
His greatest flaw is that he's a spectator. He's completely incapable of even understanding the view because anything that bypasses his intellect terrifies him.
And then you have George Emerson, the agent of truth.
He's quiet, socially awkward, but he's a grounding force in chaos. Look at how he handles the murder in the piazza. No fuss, just direct physical confrontation with reality.
His kisses are the same way. They aren't polite gestures. They're pure, unmediated impulse. The view erupting into the room.
And we can't forget Charlotte Bartlett, the fortress of rules.
She's more than a villain. She's a tragic figure trapped by the very system she upholds.
Her guilt and her desperate cover-up of the kiss are what really seal Lucy into her prison. She becomes the keeper of the room.
Forster's style is just brilliant in how he uses symbolism. Everything means something.
It's deceptively simple, but every object, every setting is chosen to define these two warring worlds.
Let's start with the violets.
A perfect symbol of unmediated passion, of nature's power. That explosion of scent and color is the total opposite of a stuffy English drawing room.
Then you have the blood-stained photographs.
An incredible image. When George throws them into the Arno, it's like a baptism.
He's washing away her innocent picture postcard idea of the world.
Forcing her to see that life isn't a collection of neat, edited images. It's both beautiful and terrible.
And her music, the Beethoven, is the one place the view can still exist for her.
But maybe the most powerful, and for 1908 audiences, the most shocking scene is the naked swimming scene.
Yes. Lucy's brother, Freddie, George, and the liberal clergyman, Mr. Beebe, just strip off their restrictive layers of Edwardian clothing and jump into a pond.
It's a moment of pure pagan freedom, a baptism in nature. It's the view in its most primal, untamed form.
It's completely innocent, but also deeply challenging to the social order.
And the conflict becomes crystal clear when Lucy and Cecil stumble upon them.
Cecil is horrified. He sees innocent nakedness as a total breakdown of social order.
And he literally shields Lucy's eyes, trying to protect his delicate porcelain doll from the sight of raw, natural humanity.
That's the moment he proves he can't handle the view. Not even a little bit.
Then you get the ultimate structural irony. The moment the whole house of lies comes crashing down.
And it happens in the most suffocating place imaginable. The drawing room. The heart of the room.
Cecil, in his complete obliviousness, decides to amuse everyone by reading from a new novel he's found.
And the passage he reads, with his usual condescending tone,
is a perfect, unmistakable description of Lucy's first kiss with George in that field of violets.
The dramatic irony is just crushing.
He is so disconnected from her soul that he uses the one passionate, real moment she's trying to bury as a piece of light entertainment.
He exposes her foundational lie without even knowing it exists. And that proves, once and for all, that he's just a spectator. He can't be her partner.
And that's what finally gives her the strength to break the engagement.
It's amazing to think about how this book was received back in 1908.
Its impact was huge because it was seen as this surgical dissection of the moral hypocrisies of the time.
It was groundbreaking. dared to suggest that following the rules might actually be immoral if it means denying your own vitality.
Critics recognized the sharp satire, though some were definitely made uncomfortable by its endorsement of passion.
So what's its staying power? Why is it a classic?
Because the choice it presents, propriety versus truth, the wall versus the window, is universal. Every generation has to decide between security and authenticity.
And today, its value is in how perfectly it articulates the anxiety of performance.
We all recognize that pressure to present a curated self. The perfect career, the perfect relationship, the perfect online feed. Lucy's muddle is our muddle.
So it's read less as a social commentary now and more as a kind of manual for emotional liberation.
Exactly. It's a book that tells you it's okay for life to be messy, as long as it's real.
And the influence of this novel is just undeniable, especially in film.
Oh, absolutely. It set a precedent for stories about a woman's internal awakening. It showed writers that real transformation starts with a psychological conflict, not just a change in circumstance.
That core conflict, the individual versus society, became a blueprint for so many stories that came after.
It also established the idea that foreign travel can be this agent of irreversible personal change. The journey from Florence to Surrey is a literal step back into repression.
It created a cultural trope, really. The idea of Tuscany as the place where buttoned-up English characters go to find freedom and romance.
And it popularized that archetype of the unconventional, truth-telling working-class figure, the Emersons, as the moral center, against the refined but emotionally bankrupt upper class like Cecil.
Okay, so bring this all home. What are the key takeaways?
For me, what really struck me is the absurdity of it all. The so-called intellectual Cecil is the most blind to reality.
While the eccentric, uneducated Emersons hold all the real wisdom.
It's a powerful warning about choosing the life that looks good on paper over the one that feels real. That's a temptation we all face every day.
I think for me, the deepest meaning is in what the sources call the unlocking moment.
Mr. Emerson's final plea in the study at Windy Corner.
Yes, it happens in a room full of books and rules, the heart of the room.
It's his last desperate intervention, and he doesn't argue with her intellectually. He confronts her lie with this profound, hard-won wisdom.
He tells her she's committing a sin against her own spirit, not by leaving Cecil, but by denying her love for George to maintain the illusion of respectability.
He elevates love to this divine sacred force.
It's the voice of the view making its final passionate plea in the very heart of the room.
And she breaks. She finally admits it.
I love him. 3 simple words. And the muddle is gone. The window of her soul is thrown open.
It shows that real change begins with simple, terrifying honesty.
So if you're going to read this, pay attention to where things happen.
Outdoors, the piazza, the violets, the pond, that's where truth lives. Indoors, the pension, the drawing room is where denial and performance reign.
Until the view forces its way in.
And who would enjoy this today? I think anyone who feels trapped between 2 versions of their life.
The online self versus the real self. The career you're supposed to want versus the passion you actually feel. It's a manual for liberation.
There's a beautiful irony in the book's ending.
It comes full circle, but the meaning is completely inverted.
We find Lucy and George married back in Florence. They're staying in the pension Bertolini.
In the very room with the view that George and his father first offered her.
They're back in the same physical space, but because Lucy has changed on the inside, the room is no longer a prison, it's a sanctuary.
A safe place from which they can enjoy the world together.
She's not a tourist anymore, she's a participant. The geography is the same, but her soul is different.
And that transformation leaves us with Forster's final question, which is really a question for all of us.
You have been given this one precious life. Every day, we choose what we look at.
We can choose the comfortable wall of expectation, or we can choose the terrifying, unpredictable, but vital truth that's right outside the window.
So the real question, the one that still matters over 100 years later, is...
What are you staring at right now? Is it a wall, or is it a window?
A powerful thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep journey into a room with a view.
We hope this encourages you to seek out these classic stories that hold such vital contemporary wisdom. We'll see you in the next chapter.